Good to go.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to bring this meeting of the Traffic Safety Committee to order. My name is Bill Pierce, Chairman. It is now 7:03 p.m. on June 10th. Um, we don't have to go into our huge spiel anymore. Brian, I'm sure you'll be happy about that if I'm not here. I just have to go around. We just have to mention that this meeting is being done completely remotely. And I'm going to go around and just make sure that everyone can be heard. So, members, when I call your name, please answer the affirmative. Kate Gerard,
Here.
Brian Cole,
Here.
Chris DeSantis,
Here.
and for staff, Josh.
Here.
Good. Everyone can be heard. I just want to make sure nope, we're good. So we're probably going to make this a quick meeting. One of the first items on the agenda that I wanted to bring up was Church Street and Pierce Street. I know I've seen a lot of items. There have been a lot of items through the years on this intersection. So this is Pierce Street coming out onto Church Street. It is supposed to be a right-hand turn only, but many people come out and make that left-hand turn. Personally, I think a lot of the problem is if you think about it, people coming off onto CVS, right, to go to CVS from Route 20, they make that left-hand turn onto Church Street, the right hand to Pierce, and then the right hand to the parking lot. They come out, and your first instinct is you can do the reverse to get back to Route 20. And when you come out to Pierce Street, you come out to Church, and then you realize you can't make that left-hand turn to get onto Route 20, right? Especially if you go through that drive-through.
Yeah.
So what my suggestion was going to be was twofold. One is see if we can ask CVS to maybe do some signage saying Route 20 and a sign pointing to the right, so that everyone going back to Route 20 goes over to Hudson Street. We've done this before with other businesses. If you think of Amazon, right, we asked them to put up signs to only make a right-hand turn onto Bartlett. So it's not like it's something we haven't done before. I think the other thing is I do know that the planning director, Lori, has been looking to do wayfinding signs in that area, Blake Street, Pierce Street. Maybe the town puts up a sign itself saying, Route 20 to the right. And then when you get out to Hudson, Route 20 with a right hand pointing towards where Route 20 is. We actually have these signs. So they're actually, if you go down Allen Street off of Hudson, heading up towards, I don't know what that other street is up at the top of the hill by the baseball courts, the
East
baseball
Main.
fields,
East Main.
East Main. But there are signs there pointing to how to get to Route 20
All right.
from Allen Street.
Yep.
So these are signs that we already have. So I don't think I'm asking for anything that the town already doesn't do, or businesses in town don't already do, but I'm, want to open it up to the members here. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a good idea because at the very least, it will kind of prevent the I didn't know that wasn't possible or I didn't know where else to go conversation for the people who kind of choose to take a left turn there anyway.
Right.
I think it's a good idea.
So I guess my only question is then if you park in the back parking lot of CVS, is the sign going to be there to go right and then right to Route 20? Is that the wayfinding we're going to do? We're going to have them go all the way around, back up to Hudson, and then under Route 20?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we would need the wayfinding sign, the town provided wayfinding sign at Hudson, probably would be my guess, right? Because that's sort of over a hill, so you don't necessarily see that Route 20 is there.
Right.
But I think, the one coming out of CVS, we may be able to convince CVS to either do a sign, even if they do something on their drive-through window, right? A paper sign up there saying, please turn right to go to Route 20.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know it's like it gets a little confusing once you're in that for probably people new to town in that back corner Like your natural instinct is go left, and we don't want to funnel the traffic back through the parking lot. I don't know if CVS would be happy about that, but
Right.
yeah, I think some sort of wayfinding like that. I've lived on Allen Street for 5 years, and I had to go look and see on Google and see that sign. That's how used to it I am. But no, I agree. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, and like Kate said, at least it'll get some of the people. It's not going to get everyone.
Right.
You always got the jerks, right? I had one person that actually there was two cars, and this person made a left-hand turn onto Church Street in between my car, which was making a right-hand turn, and another car which was making a left-hand turn. So they turned 2 lanes into 3,
Wow.
and then tried to make the right-hand turn around me.
To go on to 20.
So yeah, that was somebody that it
Well-
won't matter what signs we put.
Right, right. Yeah.
But you know, at least to give the benefit of the doubt.
So was this inquiry specific to that? Because I know there's been a lot of chatter about the left turn from Church Street onto Pierce Street
Pierce.
as well.
Yeah, that was actually already been answered by the police and the DPW that light is not for Pierce Street, right? That light is for Route 20, so you can turn left anytime. But I also know that not everyone looks on Facebook, so
Mm.
you know,
I'm laughing because of my experience with that light.
yeah, that light is only for Route 20, so you can make that
Yeah.
left. The police have even said on their page. Actually, it was interesting because the police actually had 2 different responses. The first response was, no, you can't make a left on Pierce when the light is red. And then somebody corrected it later. So, you know, they weren't even sure, I think. But it is, I did confirm with the chief that you can make a left-hand turn on Pierce Street, even if that light is red, because that light is for Route 20.
Right.
Now, you still have to wait for the other traffic. You can't be cutting anyone off or going
Right.
through them. But any thoughts, Brian? No?
No, not really.
Okay. So, Josh, is that something that we could take a look at? Maybe send a letter to like the manager at CVS or something, asking them if they could either put up some type of permanent sign or even just a paper sign in the drive-through? Oh, you're on mute.
We could definitely reach out and send them a letter. Also, I'm looking at the Google Street View, and it looks like across from the CVS drive-through, there is a sign for the laundromat there. We might be able to put a sign up on town property, right, adjacent to that sign facing the CVS drive-through.
Yep.
It's not exactly lined up perfect, but I think it would still be within the view of somebody that's coming out of that drive-through.
Yeah, and I think if CVS can put up a sign, you know, in the taking care of the drive-through, and then you've got that lane next to it where people can go along. I think if you look at that driveway, the offset there, I think if you put it to the other side of that driveway between the dry cleaner and the fire station, there might be a spot there to put a sign. So
Yeah, it's a tough situation down at the intersection with Church and Pierce, but it looks like at one time we had painted an arrow and a right turn only thing on the pavement there. It looks like it's a little faded, so maybe next time we have a striping crew in town, we can get that freshened up.
yeah, I just think that that's a little too late though, right? Once somebody gets to that arrow, there's nowhere for them to go but right. So I think if we can try to head that one off a little bit. So yeah, that's all I wanted to go over was just, you know, some ideas there. Maybe keep in the back of your head if anyone else has any ideas, but and then I know we had brought up we didn't have a meeting last month, but the month before about the truck traffic at Barefoot and Whitney. Josh, do you know Scott went in front of the select board to mention that, make that request to them at all?
I don't believe he made that request. I didn't get a chance to watch the entire meeting, but everything that I saw was related to the highway barn and the fence and the and all the brush there.
Okay. Yeah, I know we do have to, he wanted to remove the truck restriction on Whitney Street because when a truck comes up to Barefoot and they come up to Whitney, they have two options, right? If going left, there's a truck restriction of 5 tons, and going right, there's a bridge restriction of 6 tons. So if they're in a semi, it's not like they can turn around there, right? So they're going to make a choice one way or the other. And I have seen, actually, it's funny because after our meeting 2 months ago, about 2 weeks later, I was coming up Whitney Street, and sure enough, there was a semi coming down Whitney Street, who had taken the left off of Barefoot probably and coming down Whitney. And I will tell you that's a very narrow street. So, especially with some of those houses that are right on the edge there. So, okay, maybe we'll get an update from Scott then in a next month's meeting as to where he is with that. Just curious, I know, we didn't have a chance last month to meet. Did anyone have any other thoughts on that about lifting that?
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think like the alternates to it are a little bit riskier, I guess. I know it's not the most ideal situation,
Right.
but sending them over that bridge that's allegedly fallen apart is a recipe for disaster. And then having them do a 65-point turn at that point doesn't seem like a good idea either.
Yeah, and I think the other thing I had brought up was the potential of doing a heavy vehicle exclusion on Barefoot, right? So they can't even make that right-hand turn off of Solomon Pond onto Barefoot, which prevents them from getting up that far. I don't know about if that's really feasible or not. I know there are a few businesses up there. You can prevent them if they have business on the road, right? That's not what the exclusion is for, but so that's another thought.
So if they
Go
were
ahead.
going left down Whitney Street, I guess it depends on what they're going for, right? Just thinking of an alternate route. Because once you get around to Hudson, obviously there's the bridge. They'd have to go up Allen through East Main and then on to 20.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
But I wouldn't know, if they got up to that point at the top of Barefoot, where are they going in? I mean, I know so I live between Barefoot and Berlin, right? And I can tell you, I see 2 or 3 semis a day going by my house. So going over that 6-ton bridge, that 6-ton limit bridge. I think a lot of them are probably going to the air gas or some of the, Steris or some of those industrial areas, and why they're not taking the right-hand turn and going up through Berlin and instead coming up Barefoot. I don't know if that's a GPS thing or what, why they're coming that way.
That's interesting.
Like in terms of getting off of 495?
And if they get off at 290, if they head towards Solomon Pond, then they would go up to Berlin, go around the
Oh, right, in
rotary,
the rotary.
and
Okay.
not hit that bridge at all. But
Yeah.
for some reason, it's sending them up. I don't know if GPS is sending them up the other way or what, but something is sending them so that they're coming up Barefoot and then taking a right, and that's where that dangerous bridge is.
It almost seems like it's just sending them the quickest route.
Yeah.
Just looking at mileage wise, yeah. Sorry, Brian.
No, that's what it's designed to do.
Right.
How easy is it for the trucks to navigate, for a semi truck to navigate that rotary?
I've seen them do it many times. It's
right.
actually pretty wide. The first rotary is a little narrow, but they can do it. And the second one's really wide, and they've got plenty of room on that one.
And I
The
think both
outside
of them.
view.
Yeah.
I think both of them have a truck apron.
Yes.
But isn't that a problem if we try to do a truck exclusion and the alternate route is in a different
Going
town?
through a different town, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, because in this case, the truck exclusion would be just barefoot between Solomon Pond and Whitney. That's all Northborough.
But once they go to the rotaries, isn't that Berlin?
Mhm.
We can send them through another town. We can't do the truck exclusion in another town.
But doesn't the other town have to sign off on that route?
Yeah,
What I
So,
understood.
I was under the impression that we couldn't just foist all of our truck traffic on neighboring towns.
I think, and that's definitely a
Mhm.
Scott.
yeah, we
I
can
don't know,
have Scott
Josh, if
next
you
month.
know, but I think Scott might have said it a time or two.
Gosh.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I recall. I recall Scott saying that we couldn't have a route that went through a different town, an alternate route that went through a different town. I don't
Okay.
remember if there was a possibility of approval from the other town, but I do remember Scott saying that I can't picture another town saying, yeah, sure, bring your trucks this way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, we could do it if they said yeah.
So maybe it's something we could look into, and there's really not much out there. You've got that Rotary. There's a couple of small stores, and there's some apartments that are set way back. But
Right. The hotel.
it's not a very densely populated residential neighborhood over there. So
Right.
maybe they would be more open to it.
And some of those businesses are actually in Berlin as well.
Right.
So, it's not like
would
it's
help.
just Northborough businesses that are in that area. So it's worth asking the question maybe, but
Definitely, yeah, doesn't hurt.
I think that's all we have. I do have one other item to bring up. I'm actually going to share out my screen here. We just got word. Let me do this.
The suspense right now.
Yeah, sorry.
I already know.
Brian, don't tell me you know, because I'm gonna feel very left out.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
So we actually received this letter from the WRTA that they are going to be opening a something called VIA, and VIA is basically a micro Uber. So it'll be designed to get people in and out of the Route 9 corridor, Shrewsbury, Northborough, Westborough, and those areas, going all the way over to Solomon Pond Mall. And it's basically it is a car service. So these mailers are actually going to be going out to everyone in Northborough.
I have seen this in Westboro.
Yep. Yeah, they're expanding the service.
Yeah, I didn't really know what that was about, but
So you can see
definitely
it's
a
going
good
to the
idea.
senior center. It's going to the MBTA station in Southborough, Solomon Pond Mall. It's going to the Wegmans Plaza Mall as well as some areas on Route 9 and in Shrewsbury. They did say that this is also a service that could be used by students at Algonquin, right? So students who might need a ride home could call this service as well.
Is there an age on there?
Nope.
But they do
Well, the
limit
ride is
it
pretty good.
somewhere to Algonquin, or
Well, no, they just said it was available for people to take within town to go to specific locations. But you could, let's say, if it's easier, or if let's say you live at Avalon, right, and your kid's going to Algonquin and they need to stay late at school, they could use this service to get over to the plaza over there, and then, maybe be able to walk
Right.
home from there.
yeah, I guess my concern would just be the age of the children who are taking this, potentially
Yeah, I think
without a
they said
parent,
it
but
might be 13 or 14 and up,
okay.
but it's
Because that
definitely
would be
trying
the
to
age you
compete
would
with
need
Uber.
because
Sorry?
that would be the age you would need to sign up for a account of some kind.
for an account. Yep.
Because a precocious 9-year-old could get on a bus in Boston if they felt ambitious, right? Like, no,
Yes, they,
I'm
yes,
not
they
being
could.
I'm not being
Right.
a smartass. It's a bus replacement service.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're exactly right. I work for the MBTA, so
See?
it's they actually any kid up to the age of 12 can ride for free.
Yeah.
And then they have student passes for some of the because some of the schooling in Boston,
Mhm.
it's actually cheaper for them to do it by the MBTA than it is
That's
by a school
actually
bus.
the school buses. Yeah.
Yep.
Did
So
they
we have
say what?
special programs.
Did they say what the size of the fleet is going to be? How many cars are they going to have out?
I didn't see that number. I think they're going to sort of play that one by ear. They want to see, the first question when we had a couple meetings on this, and the first question was they're not even sure how much this is going to be used, right? So I think that's sort of the first question they want to answer before they determine what size the fleet might be.
So it's just basically going to be a call service.
Yes. Yep. So, like it says here, they're going to send out door mailers the week of July 1st. I don't know. Yeah, actually, they're launching it on July 1st as well. And it's a 2-year contract with optional years to follow.
Now there's a map on the WRTA website of the VIA service area, and there's no way it includes this update, but I don't have a good sense of, well, I'm not sure what's included now that wasn't included before, other than Algonquin. It's not clear from the
Yeah, and this is
downtown. Okay.
yeah, this is something that they actually tried before,
Mm.
and they weren't able to get the ridership that they wanted. So, I'm not exactly sure what's changed. I think there's been some talk of, and again, this is just talk of potentially the old Shrewsbury Village being taken down for potentially apartments. And so if something like that were to happen, that would increase the number of people living in that area, which might need some type of service like this because it's sort of in between towns.
Yeah, doesn't really have any walkability
Right.
to speak of either.
So I just wanted to bring that up here as well, because this is something that we're going to have to take into account when we start thinking about some of the areas in town, and now we've got to deal with additional vehicles potentially having to getting around within the town. I do know too, and my wife has actually mentioned this as well, that she was seeing a lot more Ubers in town than normal, a lot more with that blue Uber light on them. So I don't know if that might be part of this as well, that they're seeing more traffic in the area, and therefore the WRTA is trying to pick up on that. But
I'm curious if that's more traffic or more lights.
yeah, could be one or the other.
It could be the same amount of Ubers and just better signage.
Yep.
More cars that are doing it.
Yeah.
So I think that's all we had on our agenda. Does anyone else have anything else they want to bring up?
I actually have something for next time. I'd like to try and find out, now that the Summer Street exclusion has been up there for a little bit, how that's going.
Okay. Maybe we can ask the Sergeant McDonald
Mm-hmm.
if there's been any issues in that part, in the center of town since that's gone up.
Right. I saw the one accident a week or two ago in the Community Advocate.
Yeah, that one looked bad.
Where was that? On Summer?
Right in the center of
No,
town.
this-
Like you could literally, in the pictures in the Community Advocate, you could literally see 4 West Main Street in the background. It was right at Summer Street, but that was two cars.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So that's probably somebody trying to make that left-hand turn onto 135 and cutting somebody else off and misjudging.
Probably. It's a busy area.
Yep. So yeah, so I just want to see, because I know we had concerns about the actual what would happen to that intersection once the truck exclusion happened.
Yeah.
Some sort of sense how it's going.
Okay. If there's nothing else, did everyone have a chance to read the meeting minutes from April 8th?
Yes.
Does anyone have any changes that they'd like to make? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 8th, 2025?
Don't move, Mr. Chair.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Brian, seconded by Kate. Roll call vote. Kate?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Next meeting is going to be July 8th.
I'm out of town that week, so I won't be here.
Okay. Yeah, the summer gets a little tough, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Do
Okay.
you want to skip the, I mean,
Might make sense to wait.
do you want to skip the July one as well?
Let's see when we get closer. If
Okay.
we have to skip it, we'll skip it. Is there anyone right now that knows they're going on vacation that week?
Yeah, I get home from vacation that day, so
No.
it's kind of a 50-50.
Yeah. You're a toss up.
Yeah.
I don't know what Rachel's plans are. I know she couldn't make this meeting, so
Well, having skipped the June or the May meeting doesn't seem to have added an unreasonable amount to our backlog. So
Right.
it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if we just skip the July one, if you ask me.
yeah. I just hate to skip meetings because we have them, we only have them once a month. So we'll leave it on the books for now. We'll see what happens. If anyone does have a change in plans or, won't be around, let me know. And we'll see what we can do. If we have to skip that one, we'll skip that one and go to August. So, okay. If there's no other business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Chris, seconded by Brian. Roll call vote. Chris?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
You too.
Good night.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.
Thank
See
you.
you later.
Bye.